Welcome everybody to Dax Electronic Repair. Today we're going to be taking apart and fixing a Samsung Galaxy A13 5G. Screen is broken. Alright, there is the phone. It is a broken phone. It has a broken screen. So we're going to fix it. Alright, first thing we want to do is pop that SIM card out. Get your little SIM card popper, get it going. Pop that guy out. Second thing we're going to do is get our case, our backing case off of there. Go ahead and grab a razor blade, get it started. You do have to pry at a certain angle, at the right angle, to get it started, and the clips will start to loosen. Go the closer to the SIM card slot is the best place to start. And there we go. You get it open like that, and then switch to something that you can pry a little bit better with. Now, careful on the corners; they are very tight. So kind of pry around, try and go around the corner with it, but you don't want to completely pull this case off because it does have your power switch wire connected to it. So be careful. Just go around and just be careful on the corners there, and you'll be just fine. See, and then all right. So last little bit. And you can see the wire. See that there's a little retaining clip in there. We're going to pop that thing out. And it has a plug underneath. That thing shot somewhere. I found it, so I win. And there you go. Alright, so now we're going to go through. There are 14 screws that we're going to be taking out. They are all the same length, so it doesn't matter where they go. And we're just doing this in a little bit faster speed because it will take a while if we don't do that. Here we go, taking them all out. We're just gonna sit quietly. Otherwise, I could sing you a song. I don't know if I really want to do that, but maybe on a different video we'll do that. So there's the top is all done. Now there's a bottom panel as well. You got to get all 14 screws out of there, and then you'll be able to just pry them up. And he did it. Sweetness. Just be careful where you're prying. You don't want to pry on any of the ribbon cables or anything. This one actually came off pretty easy on the top. The bottom, you do have to pry a little bit. Oh, yep, get rid of that battery. Always unplug the battery as soon as you possibly can. There is a little arrow down there that shows where you should pry. Alright, one screw up top holding the main motherboard in. That is all that's holding that one on, except for the ribbon cables. Down there is the daughter board, charging cable, microphone. That board has one screw as well. So go ahead and get them, put them aside. I believe they're the same length, but I'm not sure, so I always separate them just in case. Alright, so here's a very important step. It'll save you a lot of time, a lot of headache. While you have everything still installed on the old one, go ahead and test the new screen, because the worst thing to do is to get everything switched over and oh yes, you have a bad screen. I get defective screens every once in a while, and that is not a lot of fun when you put all that work into it and you have to end up not using it anyway. So go ahead and plug your ribbon cable in for your screen there, and then you want to plug your power cable, which is attached to your back case. That'll let you test the new screen. So kind of pinch it together, hold that button there, It's a little bit awkward, but it's definitely worth testing. Perfect. And what I like to do is actually get it to boot all the way up, and then I put my hands like that so I can see if there's any dead pixels, because dead pixels are bad news bears. That's the initial test. I do let it boot all the way up as well, so I can test the functionality of the digitizer, make sure the touch input is working as well. You gotta kind of wake it back up with your power button. I always do 2 or 3 different swipes from top to bottom, because sometimes the digitizers are dead in tops or bottoms. That's what I usually see. So test the top, test the bottom, you're good. All right, so that one was good. So we'll go ahead and continue to take everything apart, kick that battery cable back off of there. And we'll go ahead and take the boards out. Daughter board has a little connector down there, and the top one doesn't have anything. I like to keep it together because I hate those little clips, the red and the white cables, the little, I don't even know what they're called, but they're a pain to put back on a lot of the times, so I keep it together if I possibly can. In this case, I can. There are a couple things we do need to swap from the old board or the old phone to the new one that didn't come with the new screen. That's the vibration motor. Kick that out. Got the ear speaker. And what I have in my hand is a little, it's a heat gun. Set it to 100 degrees Celsius. That makes it hot enough to get the adhesive to work with me, but not too hot to burn things. Then that's a little plate underneath that I want to transfer over as well, underneath the ear speaker. At the bottom you have the speaker as well. This one has a little bit of adhesive, but not too much, so it doesn't take much to get it out of there. Just a little bit of heat. Beautiful. All right, and then this is like a little screen for your microphone, I believe. The new screen and frame did not have it, so I swapped it over. A lot of the times you can get just the screen itself without the frame. I always like to get the frame assembly with the screens because it's a lot easier to switch the motherboards than to try and get the screen off of there, and it ends up being a more sturdy fix in the end. Alright, so now we are going to start transferring everything over. Alright, so we're using a little bit of adhesive right here to put the motor back on, because when it came up it did not come with the sticky stuff. So it's a little double-sided tape, get it and make sure it sticks. All right, and plop that guy back down in its little slot. I'm going to go ahead and put the headset speaker back on with its little plate. The adhesive stayed fine on those. We don't need to replace it. You can if you want, but you don't have to. All right, bottom speaker back in. It has the adhesive as well, so we're good. All right, mother and daughter board time. They just slide right back in. Nothing special about that. Then we're going to put the one screw back for the top board. Goes right there. Give her a spin. Same deal on the bottom. And get your connector going as well. All right, there's your little screw on the bottom. All right, now we're going to grab the battery from the old frame. This just takes a little bit of prying and some patience. The biggest thing on this is you do not want to bend or puncture this battery. It is lithium ion. It will start on fire, and it's bad news. So be careful when you're doing this. Adhesive's not too tough on these, but you just go real slow and be careful. Use a little heat and some leverage. You should be able to get it. Now if you start curling the battery up, that's bad. Don't do that. That's how you break the cells inside. So just go slow, take your time, use your leverage, and you'll be able to get it out of there. Grab the heat gun again, just loosen it up a little bit. Again, this is 100 Celsius, just enough to loosen the adhesive and not to get the battery too hot, because the battery will explode if you get it too hot too. So carefulness on this one. All right, there we go. Got it out of there. Now I always do a test fit before I do take the adhesive off for the old one. And what I'm doing now is going ahead and retesting the screen with everything in it in the new frame. You don't have to do this, but you're better off doing this, making sure everything's working right. Worst thing to do is to get it all back together and something doesn't work. A little bit of caution goes a long way on this. Test, test, double test. All right, so now we're just getting the wires lined up so we can get it all put back together. Initially, I did have that red one on top. That turned out to be incorrect. The white wire is actually the one supposed to be on top. The red is slightly smaller, so it does fit down in that little valley, whereas the white one's just too fat to do that. So just a little error. Wouldn't have affected the functionality of the phone, but sometimes you gotta be, always you have to have attention to detail if you want people to pay you to do this kind of thing. All right, everything is good. Everything's hooked up, battery's hooked up. Make sure to do that before you put this top casing back on, or you will not, it will not power on because the battery would not be connected. Putting the 14 screws back in. one at a time. Doesn't matter, like I said earlier, they're all the same length. So find a hole, put them in there. All right, make sure the wires are fitting properly. They are in the right channels. You don't want the screw to screw into one of the wires. You also don't want to pinch the wires in the plastic shell casings in the wrong way either. All right, and final one. Look at that beautiful job. Excellent. So now go ahead and hook it up for the final time. That's our power button we talked about several times. Plug that guy in. Watch out that you don't actually touch either of any of the three cameras above there. You can smudge them up. It will make them distorted. Same goes with the lenses on the case themselves. There's that little rascal that shot away earlier. We found him. He's back. He's okay. All right, final thing, you just put the casing back on top and you want to start squeezing it back together. Start on the side with the power and volume buttons and just start snapping it back together. It will make some very satisfying snapping noises. Just kind of work your way all around until that gap is gone. And there you go. That is exactly how it's supposed to be. And so now we go ahead and pop that SIM card in. That is the last step. We go ahead and power that baby on, make sure everything looks good. That's what we want. Samsung Galaxy. Thumbs up, double thumbs up, and we win. Thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, and tune in from Dax Electronic Repair. Love you.